For this tutorial you will need your selected yarn. I'm using Rico Baby Classic DK. This is a 50-gram ball. You will need 2 balls of yarn for this project, one for your main colour and one for the accent colour, but 50 grams of each is more than enough for one Bunny Lovey. Now this particular yarn calls for between 3.5 and 4mm crochet hook, so I am using a 4mm crochet hook today. You will need a pair of scissors and a darning needle for finishing off your ends. You will also need a pair of 12mm safety eyes, and you'll need some stuffing for the bunny head. What also might come in handy is a stitch marker. This is optional, it's not absolutely essential, but it does help when you are working in your rounds. So we're going to start off by doing the bunny head, and you are going to need your colour A, which is the main colour of the bunny, and you're going to begin by doing a magic circle. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the magic circle, I shall leave a link in the description box below of where you can find the step-by-step video for this magic circle. But if you are competent in that, then go ahead and create your magic circle. So we're going to start off by doing 6 double crochets into this magic circle. Please remember I'm talking in UK terms. In the US this is known as a single crochet. So you want to go ahead and insert your hook, grab the yarn, pull it through. You'll have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook. That's 1. Insert your hook, grab the yarn, pull through. You'll have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. That's 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So once you've done those 6 stitches, you're going to go ahead and pull on the loop to bring that into the circle. And we're not going to connect here, we are actually just going to carry on working in a spiral. So you want to make yourself familiar with what the tops of your stitches looks like. So they look like V's or upside down V's on the surface of your work. If you're unsure of where to work this first stitch, I recommend that you count backwards. So this would be stitch number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So this stitch here, if I just insert my hook under both of those loops, as you can see, both of those loops are on there, and this is where the next round starts. So we're going to be increasing this round this time from 6 stitches to 12 stitches. So you're going to pull this through and then pull through, so that's 1, and then you're going to do another stitch in that same stitch. So that's 2 stitches. Into the next one you're going to do 2 stitches, 1 and 2. So all of this bunny head is worked in double crochet, which is US single crochet. So we've done 4 stitches so far, so 2 stitches in each stitch, and we're going to continue around with 2 stitches in each stitch until we reach 12 stitches. So into the next one, 5, 6, next stitch, 7, 8, next stitch, 9, 10, next one, 11 and 12. So because we're working in a spiral, this is where your stitch marker might come in handy. You can either put your stitch marker on the last stitch of this round or on the first stitch of the next round. Whichever you do, just make sure that you remember which it is. I personally don't particularly like to use stitch markers, but if you were to use it, you would just loop it on this stitch just here like so. Some people like to use these, some people like to use paper clips or even a little bit of yarn. I shall leave that there for now, but I will be taking that off momentarily. So now we're moving on to round 3, and we're going to increase this round to 18 stitches. So what we're going to do is do 1 double crochet into this next stitch, and then 2 double crochets into the next stitch. So this is 1 and 2 stitches in there. So that's 3 stitches we've done in total. So we'll go to the next one, that's 4, and then 2 stitches into the next one, 5 and 6. So that's 6 stitches, and we're going to keep going round until we get to 18. So 7, 2 in the next stitch, 8, 9, 10, 2 in the next stitch, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and now we're in the last stitch from the last row, so I can take this off now and do the last 2 stitches, 17 and 18. So you would go ahead and put this stitch marker in this section if you wanted to use those stitch markers. So now we are on to row 4, and we're going to increase this row from 18 stitches to 24 stitches. So from now on, I'm going to tell you what the formula for that row is and let you pause the video and come back to me once you've done. So for this row, you're going to do 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2. And you're going to repeat that 6 times until you get to 24 stitches. So go ahead, pause the video and meet me back once you've done. So I've now completed my round 4, and I'm going to move on to my round 5. Round 5 is going to consist of 30 stitches. So we're going to start off by doing 1 double crochet, another into the next stitch, and another into the next stitch. So 3 double crochets and then 2 double crochets into the next stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. So you want to go ahead and pause the video and work that sequence 6 times until you reach 30 stitches, and I shall meet you back in just a moment. So I've now completed my 5th round, which consisted of 30 stitches, and now I'm going to move on to round 6. So this is going to be increased to 36 stitches, and the formula is 4 double crochets, so 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then 2 double crochets into the next stitch, 1 and 2. So you're going to repeat that 6 times until you reach 36 stitches. So that is 4 double crochets and then 2 double crochets into the next stitch. I shall meet you back in just a moment. So we're now going to move on to round 7, where we'll do 5 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then 2 double crochets into the next stitch, 6 and 7. So that's 5 double crochets followed by 2 double crochets in the next stitch. You'll do this 6 times and end up with 42 stitches. So go ahead, pause the video, and I'll meet you back in just a moment. So for round 8, what you want to do is do 6 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then 2 double crochets into the next stitch, 7 and 8. So you're going to go ahead and repeat that. So 6 double crochets and then 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and you're going to repeat that 6 times to get to 48 stitches within round 8. So I shall meet you back in just a moment. So I've just finished my round 8 and I have 48 stitches. So at this point, for rows 9 to 12, we're going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch. So basically you're going to have 48 stitches between rows 9 and 12. So you will have 48 stitches in rows 9, 10, 11 and 12. So this is where stitch markers can come in really handy, because you are doing the same amount of stitches. So I would put that into the, so I've just done 1 stitch, I'd put it into the stitch just before, because that's the end of that row, and that just really helps you to know when the last one started and this one begins, because it's really easy to lose track of where you are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to build those rows 9 to 12. But what I shall do for the video is insert a freeze frame and just give you markers so you can pause and play, so that you know which row you're on. So go ahead and pause the video and build your rounds 9 to 12, which consist of 48 stitches, and I'll meet you back for round 13. So I've now completed each of my rounds up until round 12, and this is what the bunny head is looking like. So it definitely looks like a bowl at this point. So as you're working round, you have what would have started off as the right side facing and then the wrong side. You want the wrong side to be facing outwards, because that actually gives a better look to the end piece of work. So now what we're going to do is move on to round 13, and from this point forward we're going to start decreasing our stitches. So we're going to go from doing 48 stitches in this round down to 42 stitches in round 13. And what you want to do here is start off by doing 6 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then we're going to double crochet 2 together. So insert the hook, grab the yarn, pull it through, you'll have 2 loops on the hook. Insert the hook into the next stitch, grab the yarn, pull it through, you'll have 3 loops on the hook, and then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on the hook. So essentially we have 7 stitches there. So you would repeat that again 6 times until you have 42 stitches. Please remember that the double crochet 2 together only classes as 1 stitch. So go ahead, pause the video, work your 42 stitches with that sequence, and I shall meet you back in just a moment. For round 14, we're going to decrease 42 stitches to 36 stitches. So we're going to do 5 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then double crochet 2 together, and that will class as 1 stitch. So that's 6 stitches. So you're going to repeat that 6 times and you'll end up with 36 stitches. So pause the video and I'll meet you back in just a moment. For row 15, we're going to decrease from 36 stitches to 30 stitches. So we're going to double crochet into the first 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then double crochet 2 together, which creates our 5th stitch. So you'll do that 6 times and you'll have 30 stitches in total for this round. I shall meet you back in just a minute. So after you've done round 15, your work should be looking like this. The top of the head is this section just here, and what we're going to do now is add the eyes. So what I will do is pull out some of the yarn like this so that I know that it's not going to unravel. You could actually pop your stitch marker there if you wanted to, and then you want to decide which is going to be the front of your bunny. So if I just hold it like this, I'm going to make this the front of my bunny, and I'm going to pop my eyes in. So I would first of all suggest that you put your eyes in without the backs on, just so you can get the right placement. And you want to insert the eyes around, roughly around row 12. So that's before we started to decrease. So if this is row 15, 15, 14, 13, 12, I'm going to put one just in the space between the double crochets. And you want to have this around 1.5 inches apart. So the next one, in fact, I'm going to move this over slightly. So this is the beauty of not putting the back on. So I'm going to move that one over. And then I'm going to put this one around here. So around an inch and a half apart, but obviously whatever kind of look you're going for, you could have them closer together if you wanted them, wider apart, more up the head, further down, it's totally up to you. So once you're happy with the placement of those, you want to go ahead and put the backs of the eyes on, which will keep those eyes well into place. Make sure you pull out the work so that you're not getting it trapped in there. So they are my bunny eyes, and I'm going to go ahead and start stuffing the bunny just with a little bit of stuffing. So I'm going to take this. You don't want too much in at this point, just to start filling the very top of the head out first. I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook again. And then I'm going to start round 16. So round 16 is taking it from 30 stitches down to 24 stitches. So you're going to double crochet 3 times, 1, 2, and 3, and then double crochet 2 together, and that will class as 1 stitch, so that would be our 4th stitch. So go ahead, do that 6 times in total until you have 24 stitches, and I'll meet you back for round 17. Round 17 is going to consist of 18 stitches, so you're going to do 1 double crochet, another double crochet, and then 2 double crochets together, which will be our 3rd stitch. So it's 1, 2, and then double crochet 2 together. So pause the video, work your 18 stitches, which is the 2 double crochets and double crochet 2 together 6 times, and I'll meet you back in just a moment. After round 17, you'll really see the base of the bunny head really folding in. Make sure that you're not being too laxed with your tension. You still want good tension at this point, otherwise it will be really gappy at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and pull out that stitch a little bit more and continue to stuff the head. So you can stuff this a little bit more now. Obviously you can either have it firmer or softer, it's totally up to you. and from this point you can build a few stitches and then stuff even more if you like, just to get it right for how you want it. So I'm going to leave that there for now and continue with row 18. And for round 18 we're going to take it to 12 stitches. So it does kind of get a little bit more difficult at this point. You do kind of have to move your work as you're doing it, but again, make sure that you're not slacking on your tension. So for round 18 you're going to double crochet, so making sure I'm pulling that nice and tight, and then double crochet 2 together. And then pulling that. At this point I kind of like to hold my bunny head like this and just work round like so. So you're going to work 12 stitches in total, 1 double crochet and then double crochet 2 together 6 times until you have 12 stitches. Do that and I'll meet you back in just a moment. So I've gone ahead and finished that round and stuffed the head a little bit more. I'm just going to alter the position of this eye to make sure it's sitting flat as well. And then the last round, which is round 19, is going to consist of 6 stitches. So we're just going to double crochet 2 together to create 6 stitches. So double crochet 2 together. That's 1, and you can see that it gets a little bit more tricky here, so take your time when you're doing this. 2, and you can see that I'm turning my work as I'm doing this, and then pulling tight. 3, and this will really close up the bottom of this bunny. It's getting more difficult for me to pull through just because I'm trying to keep the tension as taut as possible. Oops. 4, 5, and 6. So that is the last stitch. Now what you want to do here is tie off. So I just kind of go into the opposite side and just do a slip stitch and then chain 1, and you want to leave a nice long tail because you're going to be using this to tie off or connect to the Lovey section later on. So nice long tail at this point, and then pull out this here. So that is the bunny head. All that you would have left to do is to pull this section into the work, and you can do that by threading up a darning needle and then just sticking it right through into the bottom, just pulling it through and then snipping that off. So just remember that the tail is on the base of the bunny head, and now we're going to go ahead and build the ears. So I've made one already. It's going to look like this, and we're going to go ahead and make the other one. Each ear is exactly the same, so you would just use the instructions twice. For the bunny ears, you're going to continue to use your main colour, colour A, and you're going to start off by doing a magic circle. Again, if you're uncertain of how to do a magic circle, then I shall leave a link in the description box below for the tutorial, the step-by-step tutorial. So we're going to start off with round 1, and we're going to do 5 double crochets into the magic circle. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm going to pull on the loose end and that's going to make it into a circle. Again, we're working into a spiral. We won't be connecting each round, so count back your stitches if you need to find where we're going to be working into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going to insert my hook into there just so you can see where it is. It might be a little bit stiff, but there we go. Inserting my hook into just there, and I'm going to do 2 double crochets into each of those stitches, so that we'll have 10 stitches in total. So I'm going to pull that through and start my first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So that's 10 stitches for round 2. So for round 3 we're going to increase from 10 stitches to 15 stitches. So we're going to do 1 double crochet and then 2 into the next stitch. So that's 3 stitches in total. So we'll then do that again. 1 double and then 2 doubles into the next one. So that's 6 stitches in total. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. Round 4 to 7 is 15 double crochets in total. So 1 double crochet into each stitch for rounds 4, 5, 6 and 7. So go ahead, pause the video, do those. I'll leave a marker on the video so you can play and pause and keep track of where you are, but meet me back for round 8. After rows 4 to 7, this is what your work will be looking like. I find it easy to kind of fold my work in half and work into the stitches like this rather than hold it open, but it's totally up to you however you find it more comfortable. So for round 8 we're going to do 3 double crochets and double crochet 2 together 3 times, so we'll have 12 stitches. So at this point we're starting to decrease, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3 and then double crochet 2 together. So that will be our 4th stitch, and then you're going to repeat that 2 more times, so you'll have done it 3 times in total. Pause the video, meet me back in just a moment. After row 8 you'll have 12 stitches as I've just mentioned, and then for row 9 and 10 you're just going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch, so you'll have 12 stitches in each round and you'll do that twice. So 12 stitches in row 9 and 12 stitches in row 10. Go ahead, pause the video and I'll meet you back in just a moment. For round 11 we're going to decrease to 9 stitches, so you're going to do 2 double crochets, 1, 2, and then double crochet 2 together. So that's 3. And then do that 2 more times. 4, 5, and 6. 7, 8, and 9. And then for the very last 2 rounds, round 12 and 13, you're going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch, so 9 stitches in total. So go ahead, pause the video, do 2 rounds of 9 double crochet and meet me back once you're done. Once you've finished your round 13, you want to yarn over and pull through, and you want to leave a nice long tail because we're going to use that to sew onto the bunny head, and then pull out that stitch. So you have 1 bunny ear and another bunny ear. Now because this is small enough, what I do is I stick my crochet hook into the middle of the bunny ear, grab that thread from the top, pull it through, and it hides it within there, and just snip that off. So there we go, there we have our 2 bunny ears, and then we're ready to make the Lovey section, and then we're going to put them all together. So the next steps are going to be in part 2 of this tutorial. I shall leave a link in the description box below, or it will pop up in the corner of the video just here. I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and enjoyed making the start of the Bunny Lovey. Make sure you leave me a picture on Instagram, Facebook or Twitter of your progress, and I shall see you again in the next tutorial. Bye!